Alright, so before I talk about this topic, I want to first make the point that everyone knows that motorbikes are fun. Like, even people that don't ride. But when you actually start riding, that's when you realize that motorbikes aren't just fun. They are a brain-altering and fully consuming addiction, right? It's a multifaceted high. It's like the riding, the different styles, the limits, it's the different bikes, the looks, the gear, the maintenance. Like it's multifaceted, and every facet is like a mind-numbing high, which is why like this topic of getting bored with motorbikes doesn't fit with like what you typically see as getting bored. Like, you find something novel, you have fun with it a bit, and then you throw it away like your old Nintendo DS or Pokemon Go app or something, right? Getting bored of motorbikes is more like losing yourself or changing your religion that you've had like since childhood. So anyway, speaking about religion, welcome to my channel where we talk about bikes and Bible verses. As usual, we're going to have a Bible verse at the end. So motorbike boredom is a big deal, and in this video I'm going to give some tips that might reignite your spark if you're starting to get bored of motorbikes, or if not, perhaps you can get an acceptance of getting over it, which doesn't necessarily mean you have to quit riding, but you just accept that you've grown up and you've moved beyond the tin can exhaust on your 300cc or obsession with chicken strips, or maybe even get over like super sport bikes. So the first point of not becoming bored of motorbikes is to try something different, specifically like dirt bike riding or track riding. So I know that a lot of newer riders don't see the appeal. Like I never saw the appeal of say dirt bike riding. Like, you think like it's just not the same as riding around on the street, because like I used to think like that, but now I actually enjoy it more. I enjoy dirt bike riding more than riding on the street. So my advice is, like, if you don't think you'll enjoy it, like, trust me, like, just try it once. A lot of enjoyment comes from the pursuit of finesse, like riding around on the street. So riding on a dirt bike is like all of those fine skills that you want, but it's magnified by 10. So try and find a reason to get out there onto dirt bike riding. For me, like, it was my boy who was interested. Like, he was just a young kid, and we got a small Brap, and I actually enjoyed riding that bike too. Now we've moved on to a YZ85, and those things, there's still a mini, well, not mini, but they still are like a small bike, those YZ85s, and those things have got more kick than some 600cc bikes. It's obviously for a shorter time that it gives you, but it gives you that kick, that pull that you get like from a 600cc. So yeah, do it legally in designated areas, which is like dirt cheap to get in. No pun intended. But once you start dirt bike riding, you'll never look back. I'm yet to try track riding, so maybe when I've got a lot of time and a lot of money, I could probably start getting into that too. The second point to not get bored of riding motorbikes is to change the style of bikes. So my first bike was like a Ninja 650, the twins, like the 2 cylinders. I rode that for a month, and then I moved, because I was just starting, I changed it for an R3. So I went from like a heavy mid-sized bike to a small R3, like, and it felt like I moved into a completely different hobby. Like, they were completely two separate things, and it's that novelty, that new feeling that gets you more excited. Then later on I changed to 600cc, which kind of, going from a small bike, just blew my mind. Like, I had like this explosion of pleasure the first time I rode a 600cc, with the sound, the ergonomics, the speed. And so I stayed with 600s for several years, a lot of different ones, maybe 4 or 5 different 600s over like the same amount of years. And then later on I moved on to 1000cc Supersport, and it's not that much of a difference from 600. They're just slightly more stable, and you know, they're faster, a little faster of course. But then when I went from that to like the upright naked bike, like with my Triumph Street Triple, it's like I started riding all over again. It was like you know, a brand new experience. Same thing then, you know, you go full circle, you go back down. I went back down to this bike, 400cc learner bike. It's like, you know, reliving the same experience, going full circle again, and you could just keep reliving that cycle. And you know, even the era, like current sport bikes have evolved a lot compared to the mid 2000 sport bikes, so there is that big difference. You know, you feel something new, and also like the variety of changing all these bikes will help you in becoming a better rider, like a more, you know, getting more skills. The third point to reignite, you know, the lost spark of riding a motorbike is to simply stop, right? And you can even go so far as to sell your bike. Go several months without one. You know, have that cash in your pocket, maybe save a little bit more on the way. And there's nothing like searching for that new second-hand bike after months of not riding to relive that experience of first getting a bike. The fourth point is wrenching, like working on your bike. Now, I didn't enter the world of wrenching on my own choice or desire. Like, I was dragged into it, kicking and screaming, because of one particular ZX6 that I thought I was getting a bargain for. But I finally gave in and started wrenching on that bike. I had to go through that whole bike, and now I'm completely addicted to restoring bikes. And that situation, I felt, was almost destined, because it opened up a whole new world, right? You know, restoring an old bike is like going back in time to retrieve a brand new bike from, say, you know, 2006 and ride it today. That feeling is indescribable, especially compared to, you know, these newer bikes with all these like restrictions, rider aids, you know, detuning that all these modern bikes have. And yes, you got to put money into restoring a bike, money that you probably won't get back depending on what bike you get, but it's still cheaper than a brand new bike, and you still get a similar longevity with a restored bike, because you can pretty much restore any of the parts, even engine. Like, you don't have to get a brand new one, but you can find maybe a second-hand engine from a wrecking yard that's done like a low amount of Ks on it, like mileage. And the last point to overcome and reignite the spark of riding a motorbike is to watch the older motovlogging content on YouTube. So yes, I mean the older ones. Like, probably latest would be, you know, end of 2023. Like, after that, I don't know what happened. Things became weird. The world has become weird. There's something about the earlier ones. You know, nowadays you got like biker talk, which is like sexualization of motorbikes. You know, you got teddy bear helmet covers. Back in the day, people used to talk and ride about bikes like the R1. You know, these older motovlogs, when I used to watch on YouTube, that was the thing that mainly got me into riding. And these days, I don't know, it's like something is missing. I just want to end with a Bible verse here, and that's from Romans chapter 1. It says, talking about like this current generation, or the new generation, it says, although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks. Right? And then further down it also says they exchanged the truth about God for a lie, and God gave them over to their shameful lusts and a depraved mind. And it's kind of strange, but that's very telling about the current times. You know, people are openly rejecting God, and it's not to the point that like they just don't believe that God exists. Like, they believe in spirituality, so they believe in like the essence of what it is, but it says they neither glorified him. They don't want to worship God, they don't want to give thanks to God, but they want to tap into the spirituality stuff, right? And then so they exchange the truth about God for a lie, and God gave them over to shameful lusts and a depraved mind. So I don't know how much more I can add to that, other than to just say, look at, you know, the world that's around us. But I just pray that people come to know the true God, and come to know his true like glory and purity, and care and love that he has for people, and the peace that he puts through knowing Jesus, through accepting Jesus, to following him, the purity and the peace that he gives. So anyway, that's all I've got today. I hope you enjoyed this, and again, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you like my content in general, please subscribe, and take it easy and ride safe.